Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I am going to be drawing your OCs. OC stands for Original Character if you didn't know. This is my 4th video where I draw your OCs, and I am really excited to be doing another one. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who submitted their original characters. I really appreciate the support. Let's get started on today's video. The first OC I am going to be drawing in today's video was sent in by Artsy Taco. Their OC's name is Coral. Coral is very energetic and a bit of a theater kid. She is kind of a villain type on the outside, but on the inside is a really good person. Coral has no trouble setting boundaries and talks too much. She is 16 and excels in extracurricular activities. First of all, I wanted to thank Artsy Taco for submitting their OC, and second of all, can we just talk about how adorable this OC looks? Like, come on. You cannot tell me this OC and the style of it is not cute. I just love the personality and how this character looks. I just had to include her in this video. The first thing I am going to color is the skin. Coral's skin is a darker shade of brown, so those are the colors I went with. I decided to do the shading for the skin first and then layer it over with the base color. This method of coloring the skin is definitely a bit different than what I normally do, but honestly, it works pretty well. After I finish the shading on the head and the shoulders, I am going to get started with blending the base color with the shading. The blending was fairly easy, but eventually I had to switch my base color to a darker color to really match the skin tone. Then I go ahead and add some blush to the skin and define the nose better since it kind of looks like she doesn't have a nose. The main color from the skin kind of took away the shading I did, so I just went back and redid the shading again. So I have a question for those of you watching, and you can answer this question by leaving a comment. So I usually show my coloring process in these videos and skip the sketching and the inking because I feel that the coloring is the most satisfying part. But would you guys like to see my entire drawing process? It's something that I can definitely do. I just feel that the coloring is the most satisfying part and the most entertaining. So would you guys like to see my entire drawing process? Let me know down in the comments. Also, back when I first started my YouTube channel, I had did tutorials on how to draw things. Would you guys like to see tutorials from me? I could probably teach like how I draw eyes or how I draw the body. I don't know, something like that. If it's something that you guys want to see, please let me know down in the comments. I would love to do it. The last part of coloring the skin is coloring in the hands and the arms. This turned out to be fairly easy and quick. I'm not as pleased with the blending as I would like to be, but I think it did end up turning out decent. After I color the skin, I color the eye, which is a dark brown. I like coloring in the eye because once it's colored in, it just makes the drawing pop out a lot more. On the original drawing of Coral, I think she was wearing some sort of hair clip, so I decided to draw 2 little blue circles to represent her hair clip. Now I am getting started on the hair. For the hair on this drawing, I started with a dark brown. I used the dark brown to get the shading on the finer details of the hair. After the main shading, I go in with a lighter color to blend with the shadows. I'm pleased with how the hair turned out for this piece. After some more shading, I go in with a lighter color to really give the illusion of highlights. After the hair is done, I am going to get started on the shirt. So the shirt had black straps and a light blue material, so that is what I did for this piece. I went with very light blues and also some blue grays to really match how the color of the shirt looked. I didn't want to get too vibrant of a blue because that wasn't the color of the blues on the shirts, but I think it ended up looking fine. After I get the main base color down, I go ahead and do some shading with some pale blues and grays. After I finish with the shirt, I get started on coloring the shorts. In the original drawing, the color of the shorts were dark green, so that is what I did for these. But yeah, coloring them in was easy peasy and didn't even take that long. One of the last things I do is color in the nails. I don't know if the nails were really showing on the drawing, but I decided to color them black. After the main drawing is done, I get started with coloring the background. The background is very simple, it's just a circle, but I decided to match the background color with the background color that was shown in the original drawing. Once the background is done, I color in the heart next to Coral's name and the heart just on the drawing in general. Now it is time for the highlights, one of my favorite parts. I add some highlights to the skin, eyes, hair, and accessories. And after that, we are done with the first OC. Here is the completed drawing of Coral. Thank you so much, Artsy Taco, for submitting your original character. I really enjoyed drawing Coral. The character design was really lovely. Now that this drawing is done, I am going to get started on the second original character for today's video. The person who created this next character would like to stay anonymous, so I am going to respect that. Their OC's name is Cedric. So Cedric, he's interested in very creepy and scary things, and he always wears his cloak. He is also a bit weird. So I was a little hesitant to do this character because, for one, it's a boy, and if you've seen my other videos, I barely draw boys, so I was a little nervous because I didn't really want to mess up the character. And also, I was hesitant because, I've never drawn a character like this, one that's more, creepy and weird. So this was definitely out of my comfort zone, but once I drew this character, I'm so glad I did. But thank you to the person who submitted this OC. As always, I am starting with the skin. The skin on this character was more pale, so I went with a really pale skin shade. As I mentioned earlier, I don't really draw boys in my videos, and I feel like it's just so hard for me to draw boys. I don't really know why though. I feel like one reason is the hair. I was really nervous to do the hair on this character, but honestly, I really like how it turned out. Besides that, I think one of the main reasons I can't draw boys that well is because I don't really have enough practice and I don't dedicate enough time to drawing male characters. Honestly, overall, I am really pleased on how the line art for this character turned out. I wasn't necessarily sure how old Cedric was supposed to be, so I guess I made him more in his teenage years. So I hope this did the character justice. I kind of gave him a confident, wild type of look, and I also made him holding the peace sign because in one of the drawings that the artist sent me, he was holding a peace sign, so I felt that this would be appropriate. After the skin is done, I am getting started on coloring the eyes. Cedric's eyes are supposed to be black, so I colored in the eyes with a very dark gray, that way it could look like black, but it would actually look like it has highlights. I think the coloring on the eyes turned out well. After that, I go back and add some more details to the shading of the skin. I use a color called Mauve, I think it's called Mauve Shadow, and use that to add some more definition to the shading. I also add a little bit of shading to the teeth. I don't know if the teeth necessarily need shading, but I kind of felt like it did, so yeah, that's what I did. Next section I am going to color is the hair. So Cedric's hair is a neon green, so I went with a dark green for the shading, and then I used a more neon yellowish green to color the base. It was fun coloring in the hair because I don't normally use this hair color on any of my characters. Well, actually, I do have one character that I do use this color of green on, but she's not really like a substantial character with like a backstory or anything yet. So yeah. Overall, I am really pleased with how the hair turned out. I was not sure I was going to be able to do a hairstyle like this, but I'm really proud that I was able to do it in the end. Once I do the main shading, I go back and add some more shading to the rest of the hair to really make it pop out. The next thing I am going to be coloring is the cloak. I am coloring the cloak a dark black. In one of the pictures, it looked like it was black, and then in one of the pictures, it looked like it was dark blue. So I wasn't really sure which one to go with, but in the end, I went with black. For the shading, I just went with using a solid black marker to do all the shading, and then I used dark gray to color in the main part. When I color black clothing, I don't straight up use the color black for the clothing. I just use it for shading, and then I use a dark gray to actually color it in. That way you can see the shadows and the line art better. For the hoodie of the cloak, I used light grays to really make the hoodie look like it has a bit of highlight to it. And I really like how it turned out. I really like how the gradients turned out. It was honestly really satisfying to color in the sleeves. I just really liked how the coloring gave the illusion of ripples and shading, and I really liked it. Now I am coloring the main part of the hoodie. It's a little hard when I'm using darker colors to color in a big space because a lot of the marker streaks show through. So I kind of have to do multiple layers in order to not really let the streaks show through. The last part I need to color in for the cloak is the other shoulder, which was really easy to do, and I just added a little bit of light gray to the side to make it look like it had some highlights. Now I go ahead and add a little bit more shading to the cloak and just a little bit more details to the skin. I also color in the little star next to Cedric, and yeah, now I get started on coloring the background. So, in one of the drawings of Cedric, he had a red background behind him, so that is what I did for this drawing. I tried to make a gradient, and it was a little difficult, but I think it worked out fine in the end. I used a darker red for the bottom half of the circle, and then I used a lighter red and blended those together. After the background done, it is time for the highlights. I add a little bit of highlights to the eyes, hair, and cloak. After that, I go ahead and add my name and channel name to the drawing, and we are done. Here is the finished drawing of Cedric. Thank you so much to the person who sent this in, I really appreciate it. It was fun getting out of my comfort zone and trying new things. Here is one final look at both of the drawings. I want to say again, thank you so much for everyone who submitted their original characters. I really appreciate the support. If you want to have a chance for me to draw your original character, please use the email down in the description. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye!